At least 1,500 people have now been arrested in Brazil after supporters of ex-leader Jair Bolsonaro stormed Congress. Ukraine's president warns of an extremely difficult situation in the Donbass region as Russia escalates its attacks on the salt mining town of Solda.
The European Union leadership and NATO have signed a third joint declaration strengthening cooperation on security and defence in Europe.
Belgium has struck a deal with French energy giant Engie that will extend the life of 2 of its nuclear power reactors by 10 years.
Brazil's new president has vowed to punish supporters of the country's ex-leader Jair Bolsonaro after they stormed Congress. The rioters ransacked political buildings, pushing for the military to intervene and overturn the election he lost in October. Empty tents, scattered trash and overflowing garbage cans are all that remains. Authorities say now 1,500 people have been arrested since police regained control. President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has met with state governors in the capital. There he blamed Bolsonaro for encouraging the riots, saying several of his speeches incited the attack. On Monday, thousands of people filled the streets across Brazil's main cities to condemn the riots.
What hurts me is the impunity of the people who want to end the democracy of our country, which we fought so hard to form. Our democracy is only 30 years old and I want it to be millions. I'm a bit afraid that other things might happen again, but this won't stop our fight. It won't stop me. I think that we have to keep resisting and show that this is not the way, that this should never happen again.
The biggest assault on Brazil's democracy in decades. News of Sunday's uprising sent shockwaves around the world. But perhaps what is most alarming are the echoes of the US uprising almost exactly 2 years earlier.
President Lula, who has returned here to the capital, Brasilia, shortly after those chaotic scenes, and who has been working inside the presidential palace throughout the day on Monday, gathering authorities, including governors from all Brazilian states who have accompanied him here to the Supreme Court, where he delivered a short statement condemning what he describes as acts of terror by those protesters, and promising swift and severe punishment to those involved. Lula, who also attempted to convey a message that order has been restored here in Brazil, but what we saw on Monday were more protests erupting in other parts of the country, including in Sao Paulo, Brazil's largest city, and in Rio de Janeiro, following the dismantling of those sit-in protests, signaling, of course, that things will be very difficult for authorities here going forward, because this is, of course, a profoundly divided country, and reuniting Brazilians will take significantly longer than the cleanup operation that has already started here in Brazil's capital. Annalise Borges from Brasilia for Euronews.
The situation in the Donbass region remains tense as Russian armed forces concentrate their efforts on the salt mining town of Solda. Under pressure to deliver battlefield successes, Russia has stepped up its attacks on Ukrainian lines in the area. But Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says he is confident his country will prevail. And what did Russia want to gain there, Zelensky says? Everything is completely destroyed. The whole land near Solda is covered in corpses of the occupiers and scars from the strikes. This is what madness looks like. Shells of houses lie empty in the village of Mospenov in the Kharkiv region. Kostiantin Nemikin's wife and son have fled to Chernihiv, but he stays here, repairing houses for the elderly and trying to fix the damaged water supply system.
Russian forces conducted ground attacks across the Donetsk region frontline and made gains around Soledar and Bakhmut, says the Institute for the Study of War. Kyiv and Moscow both confirmed that the fierce fighting is going on in that area and that the situation is extremely difficult. Now, Bakhmut and the neighboring town of Soledar have been the focus of intense efforts by Moscow to make progress since early summer 2022. Ukraine is reinforcing its positions around Bakhmut in the eastern Donetsk region after days of relentless assaults by Russian forces spearheaded by Wagner mercenary group. Now, the capture of Soledar, a small town with a pre-war population of about 11,000 people, which lies around 15 kilometers to the northeast of Bakhmut, would put Ukrainian forces in the area in danger of being encircled, would disrupt Ukrainian lines of communication and offer Russia a potential avenue of approach against Bakhmut. The UK Defence Ministry says part of the fighting has focused on the entrances to the 200 kilometers long disused salt mine tunnels which run underneath this district. Both sides are likely concerned that they could be used for infiltration behind their lines. Despite the increased pressure on Bakhmut, Russia is unlikely to envelop the town imminently because Ukrainian forces maintain stable defensive lines in depth and control over supply routes. Now, the Institute for the Study of War also adds that the Wagner Group leader Yevgeny Prigozhin continues to use reports of Wagner Group's success in Soledar in an attempt to bolster Wagner Group's reputation as an effective fighting force. Now, Prigozhin will continue to use both confirmed and fabricated Wagner Group success in Soledar and Bakhmut to promote the Wagner Group as the only Russian force in Ukraine capable of securing tangible gains, as the Institute for the Study of War has previously reported.
The EU and NATO have signed a new joint declaration deepening cooperation on security and defence in Europe. It builds on similar agreements in 2016 and 2018 in the context of Russia's war of aggression in Ukraine. Leaders agreed the EU's embryonic defence capabilities should complement NATO's.
Our declaration makes clear that NATO remains the foundation of our collective defence and remains essential for Euro-Atlantic security. It also recognises the value of a more capable European defence that contributes positively to our security and is complementary to and interoperable with NATO.
The Russian threats and challenges are the most immediate, but they are not the only ones. We also witness China increasingly attempting to reshape the international order to its benefits. So we must bolster our own resilience. And with this new joint declaration, we are also taking our partnership to the next level.
The EU and the military alliance share 21 members who have common values and play complementary and reinforcing roles in support of international peace and security. The enhancement of cooperation between the two organisations has been given fresh impetus since Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Serbs in Bosnia's Republika Srpska have marked the 31st anniversary of the entity's founding, despite a court ban against the event. The day was declared illegal and unconstitutional by a Bosnia and Herzegovina court in 2015, stating that the event is discriminatory against non-Serbs there. Celebrations are typically held in Banja Luka, but this year they took place in East Sarajevo.
From the United Nations skyscraper in New York, an announcement that scientists believe things may at last be looking up for one of the gravest threats the Earth faces from greenhouse gases, the depletion of the ozone layer.
The ozone layer is on track to recover within 4 decades. In a new report, a UN-backed scientific panel confirmed that the phase-out of nearly 99% of banned ozone-depleting substances has succeeded in safeguarding the ozone layer, leading to a notable recovery of the ozone layer.
But also a word of caution on some new technologies.
The panel also examined new technologies, such as geoengineering for the first time, and warned that of the unintended impacts on the ozone layer caused by methods like stratospheric aerosol injection.
The experts predict the ozone above Antarctica may only heal by 2066, but by 2045 above the Arctic and 2040 in other parts of the world.